Hello, one Nas here from Info.Tech.Journal. So we're gonna continue along on our video series in terms of combining PowerShell and Java. In this particular video, we'll be discussing about Java as a basic introduction. We'll have four main topics that we'll cover in this video. Firstly, we'll be covering PowerShell Console. So in PowerShell Console, we're just gonna go straight overview what it is, how to change the basic environments just to suit your needs or your preferences. Because if you're like me, you might want to change fonts around, make it easier to see. And if you're looking at it for a long while, why not make it to your preference? Second part is we're gonna go get help. In this day and age, everybody's going to use Google as their primary means of getting help. But in some instances, you might not have connectivity on site when you're working, or you just want to try to get help with the inbuilt feature that Microsoft has provided us. So with Get Help, you'll also get some examples that you can directly use in your day-to-day operation. The last two elements is just basically finding commands. So we're gonna work with one command in this particular video. We don't want to delve too deep. It's just gonna be what commands mixed with Get Help to just get a sense of how things work. In the future videos, we'll be discussing or dissecting the commandlets and the particular parameters or optional parameters they are, the dash options, just to have a better understanding of what it is. And lastly, in this video, we'll also be looking at some aliases. So in combination with finding commands and the basic structure of commandlet and looking at aliases, if you were gonna go to Google and find some commandlets to try, you're not gonna be totally lost on what does this syntax actually mean. Just bear in mind, if you were experiencing some problems or some challenges like I did, when I was starting out, I looked at some commands and there were a lot of aliases. Aliases can be powerful, can be helpful in terms of shortening command, but if you're passing information from one engineer to another technician to another technician, some aliases can make the script confusing because not everybody is familiar with that particular alias. And if you've been at it for a while, you probably started to notice that some aliases don't line up exactly with the command structure. We'll go through that in a bit. Hopefully this video is useful. So we'll have those four main topics to discuss in this particular video. So let's dive in with our PowerShell commands. So basically, to start off, we'll open PowerShell. So in PowerShell, we have two basic flavors of it. You can run it in a console environment, like a regular console, and you can also run it in ISE, which is your integrated scripting engine. So we'll delve deeper what an integrated service engine is. Basically, it's a fancier bolt-on to the console environment. We have a dedicated scripting bar or scripting pane on top where you can just paste or type your scripts, and then from there you can run it as a whole rather than having it one line by line in your console environment. Just to start off, ease it in, we're just gonna run as administrator the console environment. As you can see now, the console environment is as such. It might be blue for you, but I have it as black at the current moment. So just to make it easier for everybody's eyes, we're gonna make it the font a bit bigger. So to do that, you can just right click, go to properties and go to font. Here you can make the font bigger. So let's just pick 24 and click OK. So as you can see now, the font is a bit bigger. You can also change colors and other properties in your particular console environment. So just take 1 or 2 minutes if you're starting out. If you have a particular preference for color, some people like it the orange magenta font with the black background. Some people like the neon green color in the background, whatever suits your preference because you're the one learning. So just to get started, and for the viewers, I'm just gonna keep it simple. White font and a black background. Okay, from here we'll be going into our full PowerShell. So with PowerShell, the first thing you want to do is just basic understanding of what version of PowerShell you're running. So to do that, we have a $sign and type host. So from here, you know that I'm currently running version 5.1. At the point of filming this video, there's already a version 7.0 or version 7 PowerShell. So if you're using a newer version, most of the commands that we're running here, it's quite basic, so you can actually still use them. Some features and some discrepancies might be present in different versions, so just be aware if you're doing more advanced scripts in the future. So at this point of recording, this article was released October 22, 2021. There's already PowerShell 7, and these are the operating system that's PowerShell 7 is supporting, just to let you know. So, but at this moment, I'm using 5.1, and that is my PowerShell version. There's another way for you to actually also get this. You can also say PSVersionTable. Yeah. If you're a Cisco guy or an iOS guy or gal for that matter, you've used to using tab. For some commands in PowerShell, if you have enough characters that actually coincides with that particular command, if you use tab, it will auto-complete. So as you can see here, PSVersionTable also gives you the version information for the current PowerShell version that you're using. So this just gets you up and running. This is quite useful as well if you're given a script, or if you find a script online and you want to run it and the script might be a little bit old. Some commands have been depreciated from some versions, so just be aware that it might not work as you expect. So just to get started, just make sure you're running the version that you want or a newer version if whenever possible. The next thing you want to run through is basically just to update the help. The help is a very good feature in PowerShell that gives you a lot of examples of the basic structure and syntax of the commandlet. So you can actually update your help. So update help, if you enter now, I won't do it now because it takes quite a bit of time to actually update everything. So you can just update this and it will update all your help options or your help pages that is available in PowerShell. So next thing you want to do is let's go through with get help. If you say get help, okay, it will it'll take a while, and this is basically what get help is. And if you look at this is how the get help is structured. You have a basic topic, a short description of what the commandlet is, and the long description is basically a more detailed or thorough explanation of what the commandlet does or do. And then this is just some other options that is present for get help. So let's just say that we're gonna do one particular command, a very basic command that everybody does, or as a starter command when you're learning PowerShell, is get service. So let's get help, and you want to get help for get service. So with get help and get service, the name of the commandlet or the name of the command is get service, and you have the syntax here: get service, computer name, system string, dependent services, display name. Don't worry if this is a bit confusing. We'll have a separate video specifically explaining on what does the square bracket means, if it's in the square brackets. Okay, what does the dash without the brackets mean? Okay, we'll go deeper into that as we get along. But for this particular video, we just want to get started with get help and get service. This is basically the help page for get service. As you can see here in remarks, there's also get help, get service examples, which actually gives you examples inbuilt into PowerShell. So let's just try that. So you can just highlight it, right click to paste. So if you don't know that, that's actually a quick shortcut. So you just highlight, right click, and then it will just paste it in here. So if you get help, get service dash examples, it'll actually give you examples. As you can see, it gives us a thorough example of how to actually use get service. So in terms of this one, example 1, get service on your computer. Get service with quotation marks, WMI, and a wildcard or a star. I will go into a bit more detail in the future videos. For example, here you have example 3. Example 3, display service will include a search string. So you can actually use get service, display name, and wildcard star. And networks basically means anything in front, anything in the back, as long as it has the word network. And you can run through here and you have a few more examples here. This one has a piping option. What is a piping option? We'll discuss in a future video. And you can see here it has a lot of examples and detailed explanations of how you actually get to use get service in conjunction or with other commands as well. Something I like as well is if you are doing this and you actually have this one window and you don't want to open another console, or it's just too many consoles or too many windows opening, you want to have this in a separate window. For some people, they actually do this. They open Notepad. On Notepad, they copy all this and they paste it in Notepad and then scroll up and down. And specifically with PowerShell, you can actually say get help, get service, and you say show window. Okay, with this, it actually opens up a separate window that you can use to actually see the help command or the helpful information available to you without cluttering your main console. So that is actually really helpful. I found this to be one of the useful get help options that I frequently use, especially when I'm still learning PowerShell. This is actually really useful. With this as well, with get help show window, you have a setting command here. You can go to settings, and for example, this one, of course, I've done this previously. I just wanted to show examples for the specific commandlet, but you can actually choose everything, and you can see this actually shows every single information, the synopsis, the description, the parameters. I mainly use it just to quench my curiosity. So my main option is usually I have everything closed, maybe just descriptions and examples all open, selected, and it'll just show examples and a specific description. So this is quite handy to have. So that's how we move along. We have some commands now. We just basic understanding of get service, and we have get help. Another thing that you want to do is after the window gets cluttered or you have a lot of commands running or a lot of output, you want to clear it. So usually if you're used to regular Windows command line, you can type CLS, which actually clears it. But then again, CLS is actually an alias. So if you want to get more information, you can say Get-Alias CLS. So you can actually see here, CLS is the alias for the commandlet of clear host. So if you actually type clear host, let's just say random stuff here, I'm just making some random errors. So if you say clear host, or type the command clear host, enter, it actually does the same thing as CLS. You can actually, with CLS, you can say get help, clear host, and it actually shows you the get help for the clear host option. So if you just say get alias by itself and type enter, you can see here that these are the aliases available to you. Let's say get job, GJB is get job, kill is stop process, ls if you're used to using ls for just to get the items in a directory, get child items, or this make directory, md, or let's say something like dr or cp. If you're used to using copy and pasting in command line, cp is copy item, cpi is also copy item. So these are the aliases that are available to you in PowerShell. So we basically covered the 4 main key items that we want to discuss in this particular video. So PowerShell, we have the PowerShell Console. We've already discussed a little bit about get help. Finding commands, we've just gone through one command and shown you the basic examples. So you can go through commands and search them from those examples to just see how the command works and how the combination of commands gives you a certain result. And we've looked at aliases and the options for aliases and what they mean. So that is the basic cover for this video. Hopefully you find this useful. We'll go a bit deeper in the second video on PowerShell in our road to actually having a working tool that has a Java front end or GUI and to run PowerShell scripts for our environment. I hope you have a good day and continue watching this video series. Thank you.